Hi, everyone. I'm Lauren Albanian, the coordinator for ISAR 2022. The dates for the conference are August 25th through 29th. It's going to be held in Westminster, Colorado at the Westin. You know, Westminster is right between Boulder and Denver, so there's lots to do. The Rocky Mountains are right there, front and center. The weather's going to be lovely, and we have 100 speakers presenting on a wide variety of topics. And today I am with my colleague, April Elliott Kent, and she is taking time out of her busy schedule to chat with me today. So thank you very much, April.
I appreciate the opportunity to chat with you, Laura.
Awesome. So those of you who might not know who April is, she's been around doing her work. Very busy woman. She has been practicing astrology professionally since 1990. She's the author of 3 books, including Astrological Transits, The Essential Guides to Practical Astrology, and is a popular teacher and lecturer. April has served on the AFAN steering committee and is a member of ISAR, OPA, and NCGR. She produces a weekly podcast and has published her website, bigskyAstrology.com, since 2000. She lives in San Diego with her husband and her 2 bossy cats.
Bossy.
Very bossy. Only as cats can be.
Yes, only they could be. Anybody who has cats totally gets that.
Exactly. Yeah. We are at their disposal, apparently.
Absolutely.
So only to serve them, open doors, feed them, open doors more.
It's really the only creatures on earth that a Leo like me will serve. Because they're the real cats.
No kidding. So what are you looking forward to being with the community coming up in August? Is that something that's exciting? We haven't seen our community for the last 2 years. We haven't seen our friends. We haven't really had the capacity to make new friends in the astrological community, except virtually.
Yeah. I'm so used to seeing everybody like I'm seeing you now in this tiny little square on my screen, and that does kind of get exhausting. I didn't realize, because I'm kind of an introvert and can often be overwhelmed in conference situations, but I am sort of amazed to realize just how much I'm looking forward to being in a crowd of astrologers and to get to hug and say hi and all those wonderful things that are the real reason we tend to go to conferences.
Of course. I mean, look, learning is great. And I am a believer that when we are connected, experiencing emotional connection, we actually retain information better.
Yeah, I think that that's probably true. You get different kind of cues. I can put myself back to particular lecture halls, say at UAC, and I can picture not only the speaker and what they were saying and what was on their slides, but all these little things about who was I sitting around and what time of day it was. And all of it, I think, does kind of reinforce what you're taking in during the lecture.
Listening to a lecture, boy, I'm going to get it wrong, whoever it was. So I'm not going to say who I think it was, but it was a talk on memory, and it was associated with the moon and Mercury. So I made that connection to me. So it's like, okay, well, if we're emotionally present and we're emotionally experiencing something, we're more likely to retain it and remember it.
That makes so much sense.
Doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
yeah. I have the moon in Gemini, so it kind of like brings all that together, and all of it. I can remember even when I was in university taking exams and things, I would remember where I was sitting in the house when I was studying about it and what kind of music I was playing and all of that. Yeah, I think it all adds up. But I mean, just the whole experience of being at a conference is, I mean, it is a little overwhelming, but it is an ecstatic experience. And I love going to lectures. I know a lot of my colleagues, when they go to conferences, it's about getting together and socializing. I like to do a certain amount of that, but I like to go to the lectures. I like to sit and listen to what people have to say. And I always come away with new ideas after doing this for 1,000 years. So
exactly. And there's a lot of new and young speakers that will be there. And so it's always great to see what they are doing and how they're developing. So you're doing 2 lectures, one on Friday and one on Saturday, August 26th, and then on the 27th. And the first one's called Transit One Size Does Not Fit All. Can you tell us why we would be interested in coming to that besides that you're giving it?
I mean, mainly that, yes.
Exactly. I mean, you're a leader.
What inspired me to do this lecture was knowing several different people fairly close to me in my life who had particularly interesting transits of Pluto to Venus. And Pluto to Venus, I've even used it in a previous lecture as an example of the worst possible aspect that everybody fears. And it's like, if you were going to make a horror movie based on a planetary aspect, it would probably be that one. So I got curious about it, and I've been watching it over the years and paying attention to what happens when different people have this kind of aspect. And of course, it is different depending on the nature of the aspect, depending on the relationship between the planets and the chart. There are a lot of things that you take into consideration. But I thought, well, let's just take these two symbols and see the variety of ways that they play it out in people's lives. So that'll be one example. And there's another example I'm thinking of too, with the planetary combination. I'm just really basically going through that thought process that an astrologer goes through when they're evaluating some kind of big aspect like that coming up in the chart. Because Pluto Venus for you is not the same as Pluto Venus for this person over here. And it's really talking about that process of figuring it out. I really think that we make a lot of assumptions, and really the longer we do astrology, we make a lot of assumptions about what it's going to mean when we see a particular combination. And certainly our clients do. Our clients are most fearful of Pluto aspects and Saturn aspects. So it's about evaluating that process, really.
Of course, good. And what I know of those who are studying and learning astrology, students of astrology, they're really interested in knowing what professionals do and how they think. It helps them.
Yeah, it did me starting up, didn't it you? I mean, yeah.
And not just the technique, though technique is great, but knowing how a professional actually uses it in real life.
Right. How they make those connections, how they synthesize things.
Exactly. And so on Saturday, you're doing one called the Dance of Lights, the Progressed Lunar Cycle.
Yeah, I got really excited about the lunar cycle when I was preparing a talk I did at the last UAC in 2018 that was about the natal lunar phase in relationship and what a person born under a particular lunar phase really brings to the table in relationship, what they really want and need in a partner, compatibility between people born under particular lunar phases. And that got me thinking about the progressed lunar cycle in general, which is a 29-year cycle, like transiting Saturn. So you have these two cycles going along in parallel. And that's pretty interesting. But this will just talk about the main themes of those progressed lunar cycles, because unique among all other secondary progressions, the progressed moon will actually make a full tour of the birth chart a couple times, maybe 3 times if we're lucky. So it's like our little scout that goes around and sees how the other half lives in the world. And to me, it's a uniquely lunar system because of that. The moon is the thing that's really telling the story and showing by far the most movement. So I love looking at the progressed lunar cycle. Those phases are something I use with each and every client that I ever read for, because they tell me, where is this person at in terms of emotional development and evolution? Because transits will show us what the world is throwing at a person, but how are they responding to it? So it goes back to the same idea with the transits, that we might think, well, this person's getting exactly the same aspect as this person. Why are they reacting to it so differently? And I think the progressed lunar cycle does tell a lot of that story. So that's why I was interested in doing this talk.
Excellent. Excellent. So, people are always looking for transits and progression lectures, right? And looking for good information. So y'all, these 2 lectures are just exactly what you need for that. So go over to ISAR, go over to ISAR2022.org. So ISAR, ISAR2022.org. It's our website. You can look at the full schedule. You can read more about each of the lectures, and you can register. So this is an opportunity for you to join with your community in the ISAR family, be part of that, and not miss out on all the fun we're going to have in Joining Hearts and Minds in August of 2022. Thanks so much, April, for taking the time. I appreciate you.
Thank you,
And
Laura.
I will see you there.
All right. We appreciate everything you're doing on behalf of this conference, Laura.
Thanks.
You're a champ.
All right. Bye.